In biology, it's really important to be aware of the fact that all living things contain DNA, genes, and chromosomes. So that's the reason for me writing it up there. So what we see is all living things contain a differing number of chromosomes, or can be varying different numbers of chromosomes. These chromosomes are made up of long sequences of a DNA. And this DNA can be of differing sequences, or will be of differing sequences as well. And these DNA, which makes up the chromosomes, can be segmented up into things called genes. And these different sections of DNA called genes can help program what we look like, how we act, and some of the different substances that are made within our bodies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at 3 different types of cells here and going to compare some of the differences in chromosomes, chromosome structure, chromosome amount, and the makeup and location of chromosomes in some different types of organisms. So firstly, what we've got here is an example of a eukaryotic cell. And more specifically, this is a eukaryotic animal cell. So any type of animal will possess cells that look like that blue cell below. What we've got to the right is a eukaryotic cell also, but this one is a eukaryotic plant cell, so the type of cell that you would find in plants. And then finally we have a prokaryotic cell, and this is something that you could expect to find in an organism such as bacteria, or a bacterium would be made up of one prokaryotic cell. So in animals, what we're going to see is chromosomes firstly are going to be, located in the nucleus, which is an organelle, it's a region inside of the cell, in the middle of the cell. So it's a section or an area in the middle of the cell which holds onto the chromosomes. Likewise, in a eukaryotic plant cell, chromosomes will be located in the nucleus, whereas in prokaryotic cells our location will be an area called the nucleoid, and this is located in an area called the cytoplasm, which is kind of just this watery goo that floats around in the middle of the cell. So some slight differences where chromosomes are located in prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. Second point to make is the shape of chromosomes in eukaryotic versus prokaryotic cells. What we'll see is the shape or structure in eukaryotic cells is linear, and in the eukaryotic plant cell we also see a linear shape, but prokaryotic cell we'll see a circular shape. So by that I mean if we have several chromosomes here, now eukaryotic cells, they'll exist as these kind of lines, whereas we'll have a big circular chromosome. So a single big circular chromosome in a prokaryotic cell, whereas we might have several linear ones in eukaryotic organisms such as plants and animals. So if we look at this picture here, what you can see is we've got this kind of clump in the middle, or this cluster that doesn't really look circular, but if you untangle all of that, we would end up with something that looks like this, a more circular looking structure. Now if we look at the eukaryotic cells, so the animal cell and the plant cell, we can't really tell when looking at a cell that these are linear structures until they are sort of unraveled or pulled apart, because all these chromosomes bunch together in a bundle and make up something called chromatin, which I'll write down there. So chromatin is just a bunch or a cluster of chromosomes, but if you pull them all out you can see them and look at the fact that they're of a linear structure. What is also important to note is that a couple of organelles, so a couple more parts of the structure of cells, such as chloroplast, you can see some chloroplasts here in the plant cell, and also over here mitochondrion is labelled. So we find mitochondrion in both animal and plant cells. We find chloroplasts only in plant cells. These both have a little bit of their own genetic material, their own types of chromosomes, as well for particular reasons, and some of this is to do with evolutionary stuff as well. Another distinction to make is the fact that we can have differing differing numbers of chromosomes in differing species. So, for example, animal cells would be found in humans as an animal, dogs as an animal, birds as a type of animal, but it's very likely that these species are going to have differing chromosome numbers, so differing amounts of chromosomes in their bodies. So in every cell of a human is going to have the same set of DNA, apart from their sex cells, so the same genetic information. And in humans are going to have 46 chromosomes. So in each cell, humans will possess 46 chromosomes. Inside of to look at a prokaryotic organism, a bacteria, the amount of chromosomes they're going to have is only one, because they have that one circular looped chromosome, as opposed to a number of linear ones, like humans who have 46 linear chromosomes. And then, just for another example, or a plant example, something like a pea, despite having a very similar sort of shape and structure to their chromosomes as animals, peas are going to have only 14 chromosomes. So they, compared to humans, have very similar chromosomes, very similar structure to their chromosomes, same location of their chromosomes being found in the nucleus as to humans, but as opposed to 46, they only have 14 chromosomes. So that's another key difference that you can see in plants versus animals and across differing species. Final point I want to make is, if we look at the fact that prokaryotic cells have this one looped chromosome, this is their sort of main chromosome. They do have these little things as well called plasmids, which do contain some genetic material, and they're something which is important to note when looking at things like genetic engineering, because they can have a bit of an impact, a bit of a role to play when it comes to that.